Hello! So today we're going to be working on flexibility and mobility through stretching. So what we're going to need today is you're going to need something that's long and sort of fabric and flexible. I'm using a stretch strap, but you can use a towel. That'll work just fine. And you're going to need a chair. So it doesn't have to be a specific type, just anything with a high back will do. Just something to hang on to. All right? So we're going to go ahead and start with something for the shoulders. So we're going to do what's called a wall angel. You're going to stand with your back against a wall, and just like a snow angel, you're going to bring your hands up to the side so your elbows and hands are touching the wall. From here, you're going to go up as high as you can, keeping your hands and elbows against the wall though. You're stretching your pecs and your lats as you're going up. If you can only get to this high, that's okay. If you can get higher than this, but keep your elbows against the wall, that's fine. Just go as high as you can, hold for a second, and then going all the way down to the back, all the way down as low as you can. Again, keeping your hands and elbows against the wall. You're stretching your traps and the tops of your shoulders up here as you go down. So we're stretching both directions with this one. Keeping your back flat against the wall. So you're going up high as you can, keeping your back and elbows against the wall. Feeling that stretch, hold for a second, and then back down. This is a great warm-up stretch. We're moving through the joints range. You might feel like you can only get a little ways up at the beginning, and then as you go through it, it warms up. It can get a little bit higher. That's totally normal. Going as high as you can. Remember, keeping your hands and elbows against the wall. If you have rings or a watch, you might want to take them off at this point. You don't want to scratch up your wall. If you don't have a blank wall to do this with, you can actually do it laying on the ground as well. That works just fine. You should feel a stretch across your chest as you do this. Going all the way as low as you can, keeping your hands and elbows against the wall. We're going to do this about 10 times each direction. Just warming up those shoulders, using motion to increase flexibility in the shoulder joint. So we're expanding how far those shoulders can move. The shoulder is normally a very mobile joint, but muscles limit its motion. So we're making sure those muscles can actually elongate and relax. A lot of people have shoulder tension, where the one muscle is more tense than it needs to be, and it can cause discomfort or pain. And we want to loosen up those muscles and make sure that they are not causing dysfunction in your shoulder. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments or in the chat, and I'll get to them as quickly as I can. And 2 more. Going as high as you can. Remember, keeping those elbows and hands flat against the wall. And last one. Realize I forgot to turn on the music. Hang on. Let me. There we go. All right. So now what we're going to do is called a chin tuck. It's for the muscles up here in your neck, especially in the back of the neck. So what we're going to do is you're going to put your 2 fingers right on your chin, and from here you're going to pull your head back and away from your fingers, trying to elongate the muscles in the back of your neck. So just like a turtle pulling its head into its shell, see how my chest comes up and my head comes back, where you're trying to line up your ear and your shoulder. So you don't want your head out here, you want to pull it back and away. So fingertips right here on the chin, pulling straight back and away. This is called a chin tuck. You're tensing up a little bit of the muscles in the front and elongating the muscles in the back. If you have a crease back here, sometimes it can mean you're actually extending that head. So this will help relieve the tension on the skin back, or it will remove that crease because it actually pulls your skin taut and flat in the back. This is very common for, especially if you are sitting at a desk, working at a computer, looking at a phone. If you're looking down a lot, this can get tensed up in the back. So again, pulling back and away from your fingertips. And 5 more. Just hold for a second and then relax. Pulling straight back. This is a stretch in the back and an exercise for the muscles in the front. It's a little hard to talk while doing these. And relax. All right, now you can go ahead and grab that towel. We're going to do a stretch for the muscles in your chest. So it runs from your shoulder all the way into your sternum or your breastplate bone. What we're going to do, you're going to grab one end of the towel in each hand, and then with your thumbs pointed backwards, you're going to go up into the back into a Y shape, stretching across your chest. You bring your hands up to the back, really trying to extend back. If you can only get here, that's okay. Try and get as far as you can till you feel a stretch. You should feel a tension feeling with no pain. If you need to, back off a little bit from the stretch, that's okay. A lot of what we do is down and forward. We don't really lift up and back as much. So these muscles can get very tight, especially if you do a lot of driving. Anything like that will tighten up this area. So we're going forward and down instead of backwards. Or if you're doing a lot of typing on the keyboard, that will also do it. And this helps to open up the shoulder, improve your posture, and relax your shoulders, because these are actually very large muscles that are working against your rotator cuff. Your the pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, pull in and down. And holding for just a few more seconds. If you feel any numbness or tingling down your hands, back off a little bit from it. That means you're putting a little bit too much pressure. If you feel like sort of a funny bone feeling, really back off from this. And go ahead and bring your hands back down. So we just stretched this upper part of the pec. Now we're going to stretch in the front of the shoulder. So into this area and down, maybe even down into the bicep. Depends on how tight it is for you. So now what you're going to do is take the towel and put it behind you. And then going up to the back, bring your hands out behind you, feeling a stretch in the front of your shoulder, maybe even down into your arm, depending on how tight your bicep is. Might need to narrow up your grip a little bit on this one. Play around with it. If you need to, narrow it up till you feel the stretch in the front of your shoulder. Should be more or less straight backwards. Again, we don't typically go this direction that often. Tend to do things out in front of us, so these muscles can tighten and shorten, and we're re-lengthening those muscles to let the shoulder joint be a free joint and go through its full range of motion. It's hard to gesture. I'm trying to gesture with my hands back here. It's not working for me. So we want the shoulder to be able to do its full range. It's a very mobile joint, but it can get restricted by the muscles pulling on it. So And 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And relax. All right, you can set the towel down. So now we've just stretched the front. Now we're going to stretch the back of the shoulder. So what you're going to do is bring your arm across your body, grabbing right at your elbow. You're going to hug your arm into your chest. Now we're stretching the arm that's straight. We're stretching that shoulder with this. So hugging your elbow into your chest till you feel a gentle stretch in your shoulder. Should be right at the back of the ball and socket. And then hold that position. All of these we're going to hold for 20 to 30 seconds. Letting that muscle relax, and we're actually adjusting some of the nerves around the muscles as well to get them a little more relaxed, a little less desensitized. If it hurts, we're actually not getting an effective stretch. So if it hurts, back off a little bit. You're going too hard on the stretch. It's not more is better. It's you want just a light feeling of tension, and that's where you get the most benefit. And go ahead and switch to the other arm. Bring your arm across your body, hugging in at the elbow. Try not to hit my mic as I'm doing this. If you don't feel it, you can adjust your arm just a little higher and pull across. See if you can feel it in the back of that shoulder socket. You might even feel it between your shoulder blades. Typically, we'll be hitting that area next. If you have especially tight, what are called retractors of the shoulder blade, then you might feel it all the way back there already. That's okay if you do. We're gonna hit that muscle again specifically though for you guys with the next one. And relax. So next what we're gonna do is for right in here between the shoulder blades, so you have 2 diamond-shaped muscles right in there. What you're gonna do is you're going to clasp your hands together, put them out in front of you, and push your hands out and away from your body, bringing your chin down towards your chest till you feel a stretch right in here in your shoulder blades. That we're stretching what's called the rhomboid muscles. So clasping your hands, pushing out to the front, and then bringing your chin down, feeling a stretch in your rhomboids. And once you feel that stretch, hold right there. Now hold this about 30 seconds. These can shorten and tighten up on people. If you have tension here, it can actually lead to headaches. So if we can get that to relieve some of that tension and to relax, we can reduce the stress at your neck. Hopefully cut down on any risks of headaches. And go ahead and relax. All right, now you're gonna need a chair for this next one. Uh-oh, I lost the light. Hang on a moment. There we go. All right, so for this, you're gonna grab the back of a chair. This is called a cat and camel, or I think yoga calls it a cat and cow. But it's for the rib cage and the thoracic spine. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna put your hands on the back of the chair. From here, you're gonna try and push your rib cage out, down towards the ground. So you're not arching back here at the low back. You're pushing your rib cage, trying to get your spine at your ribs to bend, and then up towards the ceiling. So you're going up and then down, rocking back and forth with your rib cage. So what we're trying to do is get motion in the ribs. What can happen is the ribs can stiffen up, and then the low back has to work twice as hard. And so a lot of people have low back pain because it's doing twice the work. But if we can get some of that rib motion to happen, it can help relieve the low back from having to do that. So we're working at getting that rib cage to really rock back and forth. So pushing down towards the floor and then up towards the ceiling. This is called, I've learned it as cat and camel because it's sort of like a cat stretching and then a camel hump. But whatever helps you remember it. If you're into yoga, know it as cat and cow, that's fine too. Again, pushing that rib cage up and then rib cage down. Doing about 10 to 20 of these. All right. So we've been working our way down the body. Now we're going to go down into the hips. So still using a chair, we're going to do a pendulum swing with your leg. So I'm going to go ahead and move this just a little bit more this way. So what you're going to do, using the chair for support, you're going to bring your foot up to the front and then swing to the back. Pendulum swinging it back and forth. So we're stretching the muscles in the front and back as we use the muscles on the other side. Doing about 10 of these per side. This does two things. It helps warm up the muscles and it can increase its stretch of both sides in a very active way. And switch to the other side. So as we're going forward, we're stretching the hamstrings. As we're going backwards, we're stretching the hip flexors. So rectus femoris and iliopsoas, which are deep muscles in the front of your hip. Might feel it's tighter one direction than the other. And that's okay. Usually one leg can be tighter than the other, that's just fine. All right, again, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments or in the chat. I'll answer them as soon as I can get to them. So now we just warmed up the muscles in this area. We're gonna stretch the muscles in the quads, which run right from the front of the hip down into the front of the knee. They actually attach at the kneecap. So, or some of them attach to the hip, some of them attach to the thigh bone. So what we're going to do is you're going to reach around and grab your ankle and gently pull up on your ankle. Now if you can't reach your ankle, you can take that towel, wrap it around your ankle, and then use it to help you pull up. That's totally fine. If you can get to your ankle, you, grab onto your foot, you'll get a increase in the stretch. Still using that chair for support. You should feel a stretch in the front of your bent leg. Pulling straight up to the back and hold that for about 30 seconds. Let me get this out of the way. I recommend grabbing at your ankle, not your toes. Otherwise, you're going to be stretching the front of your foot. Excuse me. And same thing on the other side. Grabbing at your ankle, pulling up to the back, feeling a stretch in the front of your thigh on your bent leg. Taking deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, relaxing into the stretch. Will help the stretch be more effective. If it's painful, it's not doing you any good. It's actually counterproductive because you can increase the tension in the muscle by doing that. Want it to be relaxed into the stretch. And let go of your leg. Feel a good stretch in those quads. Now we're going to go into the back, into the hamstrings. So we're going to stretch the back of the thigh. What you're going to do is take a large step forward with the leg you want to stretch. From here, you're going to bring your chest straight out to the front. So you don't want to bend down. You want to keep your upper body straight and think about pushing your chest out towards the front till you feel a stretch in the back of your thigh. Might even go into the back of your hip, that's okay. The muscle runs all the way from the bottom of your pelvis or your hips, all the way to the back of your knee. So you want your knee to be straight and your chest to push forward till you feel a stretch along your leg. All the way along the back of that thigh. And then hold that position. I'm gonna move the chair out of the way. And now, so again, stepping large step forward, and then pushing your chest out to the front, feeling a stretch in the back of that thigh. The hamstrings are what are called biarticulating. So it means that they work at two joints. They work at both the hip joint and the knee joint. So both places can stretch that muscle. So that's why we want to make sure we're keeping our chest up so it's stretching at the hip, and keeping our knees straight so it's stretching at the knee. If you bend like this, you're just stretching at the knee, you've lost your hip stretch. That's why we keep the chest up. And relax. All right, now we're going to do a stretch for the inner part of the thigh, as well as some in the forearms. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna, again, using a wall for balance, you're gonna put your hands palm side down, and then push your knees out away from your body. You can even take your elbows and push out with your elbows. You should feel a stretch deep in your thighs in the middle. If you need to, you can even rest your elbows on the inside of your knee. If you can't quite reach down to the ground, that's okay. If you can get all the way down to the ground, that would be better, or that would be increasing the stretch. But only go to where you feel a good stretch with no pain. So pushing your knees out and away. Trying to go low as you can. Might be you need a second to adjust to that spot. Then you can go a little lower as you go. That's okay. It's a little more advanced position. That's why we have the wall to help give some support. Holding for 5 more seconds. Almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And relax. All right, so we started up at the top and worked our way down, working through a lot of the muscles. So if there are any muscles you want me to focus on or say or want a stretch or mobility exercise for me, let me know down in the comments, and I will see if I can incorporate that in for you. Love to hear it so we can get something addressing if you have a pain or feel like, oh man, I carry tension in a particular body part, then love to incorporate that into the live stream next time. Try and be back here on Wednesdays. It seems like a good day for making these work.